Look at this dude.
And I'm currently pregnant. I'm 34 weeks and 2 days. It all started in June. I was not getting a lot of symptoms. The only thing I did have was tender breast, bloating. What else? I did get nauseous, but not as much because I was always eating. Like during my pregnancy till now, I would get nauseous, but I wouldn't be throwing up. As well as sleeping a lot. I would sleep a lot. Like I just thought it was normal just because of the fact that it was summer. I did have a random sleeping schedule. Like it was just a messed up sleeping schedule, so I just thought it was normal. But from January to June, I did have an irregular period. Like when it was supposed to come, it wouldn't come. It would be a few days late. The max it would be late would be a week. So in June, when my period did show up, it did show up like a week late, I think. And then later on, July 1st, I was supposed to get my period and I didn't end up getting it, but I did get spotting, which was kind of weird for me because I never did get spotting before I got a period. I just thought maybe my period was gonna come like later on that day, but the next day comes by and I'm still spotting, which I also didn't think anything of it because I was just like, maybe it's gonna come up later, it's gonna come soon, I just gotta wait. But on July 3rd, my mom did ask me if I got in my period, and I told her I didn't get it yet. I was supposed to get it the next day. So when I did ask her for permission to go to the beach with my friend, she kind of didn't want to let me go because she was kind of iffy about what if you get your period like that day or whatever. And I was just like, maybe I won't, like, you know, like I was starting to get worried as well because I didn't know why my period was taking so long to get here, and it had passed a couple of days, and I knew it could take a week for my period to come just because last time it did take a week. So she already knew her period and my period were always around the same time. Like we would always create something and we would let each other know. Like we just had a good relationship like that, and I would always let her know when I would be on it as well, because we would just be so moody and like, you know, like we would just stay out of each other's way when we would be on our periods, and it was always around the same time. So obviously she was already on my ass about getting my period. And July 4th comes around and I let my friend know that I'm supposed to be going to the beach with her. I let her know that I still hadn't gotten my period and I was getting worried because it did take about a week for me to get it last time, but this time I just had a feeling and it wouldn't go away. Like I just needed to know. So before we went onto the highway, I did end up purchasing a pregnancy test, and it was the clear blue one brand. So I did end up taking that with me to the beach, and when we got there, before I put on my swimsuit, I took the pregnancy test and just set it down. I didn't look at it at all, and once I looked at it, it was a positive. And my heart was beating so fast. I felt like it was gonna fall off my chest because literally it was so like shocking to me. Like I was having unprotected sex, so I shouldn't have been that shocked, but as well as that, I was just so shocked because I didn't know what to do. I was also like in complete denial as well. Like I was like, I can't be pregnant, like I just can't be. So then what ended up happening was I told my friend and she just asked me like what I was gonna do, and I honestly didn't respond back to her. In my head I was just thinking like, how am I gonna tell my parents? I didn't even tell the baby's father right away, which kind of is weird, but I didn't tell him right away. I mean, we were in good terms or whatever, but I still didn't tell him right away. So we were at the beach and we just enjoyed the whole day together there. Me and my friend enjoyed the whole day together there, and once it was time for me to go home, I did come to my house and went to go put my stuff away. As I had the pregnancy test in my backpack, I did have to hide it, and it was really hard for me to hide stuff around that time because my mom would go through my stuff a lot when she knew something would be wrong, which in my case I did talk to her so she would know, she wouldn't notice anything. I was thinking about telling her right away, but I chickened out and I didn't end up telling her, and she did end up telling me later on the day if I got in my period, and I told her no, that maybe it's gonna come overnight. So the next day I kind of just went up to her and I told her, oh, I got my period, like you don't need to worry about nothing. And she's like, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm sure, like I'm positive. Yeah, the test was positive, but I told her I was positive that I got my period, and I lied to her, and it really disappointed. I disappointed myself because I had lied to my mom to her face, and as well because I knew I was pregnant and I didn't have the audacity to tell her, as well as she did tell me that she was going to take my word for it and she wasn't going to worry about it anymore, because she did worry about me getting my period every month because like I was dating, so obviously she was just like really concerned for me, and she was a teen parent when she had me, so she obviously didn't want that happening to me. And I knew if I told her right away that either way she was going to be really disappointed because she wanted something different for me, and I didn't know how she was going to react, but I did know that I was going to be really like a disappointment towards her, and I just didn't want to go through that. But a week goes by and I still hadn't told anybody. I did end up telling the baby's father later on that day, I found out, but I did end up taking another pregnancy test a week later, and I just took it because I was really in denial. I was so shook and I just couldn't believe that I was pregnant. So I did end up taking another one, and it did come back positive, obviously, but I did go to the clinic that same day just to confirm it, and I did let them know that my parents didn't know, so they were going to keep everything confidential. As I was waiting in the waiting room, all that was going through my head was, I'm going to tell my parents, like it's already been a week, like I need to tell them soon. And when the nurse came for me, she did tell me I was pregnant, and she gave me 3 options: abortion, adoption, or keeping the baby. And I did let her know that I did not know what I was gonna do yet, and I hadn't told my parents. So she gave me a list of foods I could eat, foods I can't eat, and she also gave me a list of medications I could take but had to be precautious about it as well. And she also let it be known to me that I did have to make a decision real fast, as the fact that the doctor had to see me, and she did have to give me a referral to go get an ultrasound done. And she told me I didn't need both my insurances, because I do have both insurances. I knew where my mom kept them. She kept them in her purse, and she would carry them around just in case, like if something happened to us or whatever. So I went into her purse and I got the insurances, which is super horrible of me doing, instead of going to her and letting her know. But I did end up getting them and making an ultrasound appointment for June 27th. When she did give me the referral, I threw it inside my purse, and I threw my purse inside my closet, just like to not make it any more suspicious. I didn't think it would make it suspicious of just me leaving the paper there, because I didn't think of it, but I already knew my mom would go through my stuff. So keep in mind, she would go through my stuff. And I went to work later on that day, and actually it was such a bad day at work. I knew something was gonna happen, I just didn't know what, and I just had a weird vibe about it. And I guess my mom ended up going through my stuff that day, and she did end up finding out about the paper, and she ended up showing it to my stepdad. And when she showed it to my stepdad did take a picture of it and send me the picture and ask me, are you pregnant? And in my head at work, I was just like, oh fuck, like what am I gonna do? Like Like, I just did not know what to do. I did not want to go home because of the fact that I just didn't know what was gonna happen. I just knew they were gonna be super pissed, and like, they ended up finding out on their own, which is worse of you not telling them, because of the fact that you should be grown enough. If you were grown enough to like have sex, you should be grown enough to tell them. And obviously I was being childish and not telling them right away, and they ended up finding out on their own. So it was way worse of them finding out on their own instead of me telling them. But that night my mom did end up picking me up, and she did not talk to me at all. Like, she was super pissed, and obviously like she made it be known to me that she was pissed because she didn't talk to me, she didn't look at me at all. And when I got home, it was around 9 o'clock, and my stepdad went to sleep. When my stepdad goes to sleep early, it's bad because he never goes to sleep early. Like, the latest he'll go to sleep early is 10, and that's about it. But for me to see him that he was going to sleep, I know he was super mad. And what made it worse was the fact that I didn't reply back to his message, and I didn't reply for 3 days straight. And I do live with my parents, so for me not to reply back to my parents made it even worse. Well, to reply to my stepdad made it even worse because of the fact that I didn't have the audacity to text him back, 1, and 2, I didn't tell them on my own. They ended up finding out. And 3, like, I was just being childish and ignorant, that I would walk past them and like not even say a word. Like, I would go downstairs and eat and I wouldn't say anything to them, which was really way worse than me not replying. But when I did reply as well, I did say yes, and that was all, which was really messed up of me, like not telling them or like talking to them about it, because of the fact that I was just being so ignorant. Like, I felt so ignorant as I think about it now as well. But my mom did tell me that day that that Friday, so 3 days go by, and that Friday she did tell me that I wasn't able to go out until the baby's father came and talked to my parents, and we all 4 of us had a conversation. But she also told me that I would have to let my dad know on my own, and she wasn't going to help me. And my biological father has not always been in the picture, but tries to be as much as he can. But when I did call him, he basically told me that he knew what I was going to tell him, and that it was going to be pretty hard for me, and I was going to struggle a lot, because he was a teen dad. When he and my mom had me, they were both teen parents, so they knew how it was, and obviously they didn't want that for me, and they knew how it was going to be. So as my parents and I and the baby's father have the conversation, a lot of things were said, and my parents after that, they still didn't talk to me as much. My mom didn't talk to me for 2 months. We would talk on and off, like say something here and there, but it was still to the point where we couldn't have a good conversation. She sometimes wasn't able to look at me straight in the face. Sometimes she would make not rude but mean comments, because obviously she was mad and disappointed. As well as my stepdad, he had to put his anger aside and disappointment to the side, because of the fact that my mom was being kind of mean but wasn't there for me, which was understandable. So my stepdad was trying to be there for me when she wasn't there, and he knew I would cry at times because of my mom, and he would try to be there for me as much as he could, just because he wanted me to know that he was so disappointed in me. But anyways, telling my family besides my parents was not hard, but it was hard. My dad, my biological father, told his family. My mom told her family as well, but my stepdad let it be known to me as well that I would have to tell his family on my own, and it couldn't come from him, just because the way my dad's family take the news is if you don't tell them from the person that it's happening to, like, it's different. So I did have to tell them, and it was really hard for me because of my uncles and stuff. as well as my grandma. My grandma did have a supportive reaction, which I did not expect from her. She basically told me that baby was a blessing, and that she was happy for me, that she loved babies. Sorry, I kind of want to cry because it's like I didn't expect her to have that reaction. And my aunt was a young parent as well, so she told me she was going to be supportive of me, and that even though I was younger than her, any decision I would make, if nobody else supported me, she would support me. So when all that happened, after I was really depressed. I did get depressed because I felt like I had nobody to talk to. I did have a baby's father, but it wasn't the same. Some of my friends didn't know either, so I wasn't able to talk to them about it. And my mom not being there for me kind of took a toll on me as well, because I really needed my mom, but she couldn't be there for me because she was so disappointed. So I ended up getting depressed for 2 months straight. I did not want to get up from bed. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to sleep. I mean, I did eat though. I did eat a lot, but besides of that, like, I did not want to get up from bed. I did not want to do anything. I just wanted to sleep all the time, and I just wanted to be in bed, and I was crying constantly. Like, every time I would go to sleep, I was crying constantly, and it was just a really not bad experience for me, but it was really bad for me because obviously I'm pregnant. I shouldn't be crying all the time and stuff, but I did in the beginning of my pregnancy, and it was really hard on me because I felt like I was lonely all the time and I had nobody. But when October came by, I was almost 5 months pregnant, and my mom just started talking to me. I did start getting better after my mom started talking to me because I really needed my mom. I just needed my mom really bad because I feel like when I have my mom, I feel way better. But I did start getting better. I had an ultrasound appointment October 23rd, and she did end up going with me. And I thought she was going to wait in the waiting room, but she did end up going into the room with me because we were finding out the gender, which I wasn't going to know. They were going to write it down in the paper, but my mom wanted to know what the gender was before anybody else. So she was looking at the ultrasound, like trying to figure out what the baby was. And I did have planned a birthday party / gender reveal for October 27th, which is my birthday. I was turning 17, and I was gonna have a gender reveal that day as well. So that day comes by, and we did find out it was gonna be a baby girl. My dad was pretty excited. He was so happy it was gonna be a girl. Everybody else from my family was pretty shook because everybody thought it was gonna be a boy, and like everybody was just saying it was gonna be a boy. I guess by the because I wasn't showing, or I don't know, like they just thought it was gonna be a boy. And also because I wasn't getting any symptoms. They usually say when you have a girl you get a lot of symptoms, and when you have a girl you get less symptoms. But throughout my pregnancy, I didn't really get any type of symptoms. I never got nauseous, like throwing up nauseous, or like I would get gagging reflexes at times, but it would only be after I would take my vitamins. And to this point, when I take my vitamins, it's not really like as bad anymore because I'm used to it now. But in the beginning, I did get gag reflexes taking my vitamins. So after the gender reveal, I did end up posting pictures, obviously, and I posted one on Facebook saying it's a girl, and my boyfriend's family did not know I was pregnant, so they did end up finding out I was pregnant, and it wasn't really a big deal, like, for them, but for my friends and the rest of my family that didn't know, they were really shocked, but I didn't really think anything of it because my close family and my parents already knew, and they were being supportive. I just didn't think anything of it. People would stare at school, and it would kind of like not get to me, but it would be like my face is over here and not down there. But yeah, you know. But yeah, for November and December, I did get depressed again, which I thought I wouldn't get depressed anymore. It was more harder for me around those times because my daughter was moving inside me. Obviously, she was starting to kick and stuff, and she was starting to move, and every time she would do that, I would get happy, like it would brighten up my mood, and I would feel better. But the times when I would feel really upset and lonely at times, I would also feel like I had nothing to do. Like I felt worthless because I wasn't working. I was depending on my parents a lot for a lot of things, and even to I was depending on the baby's father on a lot as well because I wasn't working. I felt like I had nobody, and to this point, when I did get depressed, my parents didn't know, obviously, because I wouldn't tell them. And even though me and my mom are super close now, I still didn't tell her like, oh, I'm depressed or anything. Like I wouldn't tell her because obviously, like, I don't want her to know. And I would always feel alone, and when I would feel alone, like I would just not want to get up from bed, and I wouldn't want to go to school. But when I would lay down there and feel my daughter move, it would give me so much motivation that I would just get up and be like, I have to do this. Like I have to do this for her, because if I don't do it for her, then I'm not a good mom. Or like, you know, like I would always think about me not being a good mom, and like not being able to be a good mom because of my age and because I was so young. I just felt like I wouldn't be able to give her everything she needs and stuff, and there was points that I think she would be better off without me. But now I did start to know that my daughter would be better with me, and she will realize that I did a lot for her, and I know just having her here when I have her, that it'll be better. Her being with me, her being here with me, and yeah, I am excited for my little girl to come. She's almost here, and I'm excited for her. She moves a lot, which is really surprising because they say girls, it's different when you have girls, like they don't move a lot, but she moves a lot, and I'm just really excited that she's on her way and she's almost here. But yeah, currently I am 34 weeks, and my due date is March 9th of 2019. And I'm pretty excited it's a girl because, you know, you could dress her in dresses and bows and stuff. And even though at times it does get hard because you think about like being financially stable and stuff, it does get hard, especially when you're a teen parent. You have school and you do have a part-time job, and usually when you have a part-time job, they don't give you as many hours and they don't give you as much money to be able to get everything for your child, to provide for them, you know. And sometimes it does get hard because baby stuff is expensive, and I'm just really glad that I have a supportive family. And sometimes it does get to me knowing that maybe I won't be enough for my daughter, but at least I am trying. I'm trying to get everything for her already, and I have already gotten her a crib and stuff. I'm really grateful that things have been going good for me because I already have a lot of clothes for her. I have the crib for her. Like honestly, if she came now, I would be ready for her because I do have things for her now. And even right now, working and not getting as many hours, it does get to me because I feel like sometimes like, what if I can't buy diapers, or what if I can't like buy her formula, or like what if I can't provide this for her. And it always gets me, but you also have to look at it from a different perspective and a brighter side, because if you always think negative, then obviously like you'll get more upset with yourself. But yeah, that is my story. And yeah, I hope you guys liked this video and you guys are happy to go through this journey with me and my daughter and waiting for her arrival. Thanks for watching.